Hello and welcome to the Hugh Hattrick channel and our F1 Australian Grand Prix review. In literally just a few minutes' time, we will let you know all the main story of the recent F1 Grand Prix, the season opener at Albert Park in Melbourne, where of course Lando Norris won. Now you may have heard some of the bits and pieces of the Grand Prix, some of the main storylines, but hopefully this video will help you to find out the necessary information and really about the race, which was actually a decent performance by many of the drivers, but it did stand out for a couple of reasons, and some of them not so good. But let's get started with the action. And now I've got some pictures here that will go through the chapters of the race. And don't worry, it'll be done in just a few minutes' time. So we start with Lando Norris, of course, who won the race and started from pole position and really showed that he is ready to win. He was never particularly threatened. At the end of the race, Max Verstappen was only about half a second behind. But overall, Lando, I think, pretty much had things under control, unlike some of the rookies that we'll have a look at just now. Here we have it is Hajar, and he is in the Racing Bull, and he actually crashed out on the warm-up lap. Yes, it's been done before, but it was pretty skiddy, and he just lost it coming into the first corner, and that was him out. And of course, that brought out the safety car. But even when that was going on, there was more crashes. Another one of the rookies, Jack Doohan, lost it again, skidded around when they were on their safety car lap, and that was his race over. So that was two of the rookies out just on the first lap or two. It looked pretty spectacular, to be fair, because it was quite dodgy in terms of the conditions were pretty ropey. And then we've got a Williams out. Again, this time it was Carlos Sainz. So he's not a rookie, but it's his first outing for Williams, which he must have been really disappointed with because he was looking so good and so strong. But he went out at the end of the lap. So we got these constant kind of safety car laps and restarts and everything else to try and see what was going on. Then eventually the race got underway. It was delayed for about 15 minutes and then it restarted and things started to happen. It was dry initially. Sorry, no, it was a kind of drying track. It had wet, it had rain, and then things started to dry out. But not before our next picture here. Max Verstappen went wide coming into the corner, and that allowed Piastri to go past him because Piastri had lost that place at the start. It was quite a decent battle, but Max managed to keep it on the track, just went a bit wide, and you can see a huge puddle as he went through it. So did very well indeed to be able to do it. So things then kind of settled down, and it looked like it was going to be quite a straightforward race between Lando Norris and Piastri. However, there was more information from the team owners, from the engineers saying rain was coming again and you need to be prepared. So they decided that they would stay out as long as possible. And then it got so bad that the two McLarens went off. That's right. There is Lando Norris and Piastri. Now, Lando was able to rejoin the track without any problems and maintain his position in the lead. But unfortunately, Piastri kind of spun off, and that's what lost him so much time. And he went down the field quite a bit. But he did make a reasonable recovery and ended up beating Hamilton actually to ninth place in the end. But it was pretty exciting. And when all that was happening, because it was getting pretty dodgy and cars were spinning off, then Liam Lawson in the Red Bull, he finished his race by spinning off, and there was another safety car to come out. So there was lots and lots of safety cars. So most of the front of the field came in, except for Lewis Hamilton. He stayed out, and Leclerc stayed out because they actually weren't doing too badly, and they were in first place. But Hamilton inherited the lead, and things were pretty good until the other drivers like Lando Norris caught up with them on their intermediate tyres. And of course, they were really struggling at that point. So they decided to come in, they stacked them up. You can see Lewis in front and then Leclerc behind him. But once they got back on track, Leclerc actually managed to overtake Lewis in a wonderful move. And so he got a place ahead. And in effect, by the end of the race, he was actually 2 places ahead But this meant that the two leaders now were Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. And it was a great race. The last few laps, it was very, very close indeed. And it was only a little mistake by Max Verstappen through one of the corners where he went a little bit wide and had to back off. And that allowed Lando to have a bit of breathing space. But even when he crossed the line to win the race, there was only about 6/10 of a second in it. But it was a really good Grand Prix, to be fair. The rookies are showing that they are, very vulnerable. It was a tricky race, mind, to start off with. So I think they'll probably be better if it's dry in China. I think they have a good chance of at least making the safety car lap or the warm-up lap, and hopefully seeing the checkered flag, because Bortello, he also went out in the kick Sauber. So there was quite a lot of, I think there were about 6 or 7 cars that failed to finish, including, of course, Alonso crashed out as well. So yeah, a lot of cars went out, but we were left with a pretty good race. I was disappointed for the Ferraris. I hoped Hamilton would do a bit better. And afterwards in the interviews, he was saying maybe he could have stayed out a bit longer. They're obviously struggling a little bit on tactics. And of course, Ferrari have not been great on tactics for the last year or two. But at least hopefully they can learn, because they need to do a bit better. They're definitely underperformed. The Ferraris are much faster than what they said. But Albon in the end finished 5th. And Antonelli came right through the field, and he finished 4th in the end. Russell was 3rd, and I would say Verstappen was 2nd, and Lando Norris won, and for the first time goes into the lead of the Formula One World Championship. So there you have it, the Australian Grand Prix review in just 6.5 minutes. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, add a like, subscribe to the channel. We'll make sure that we do write-ups for all of the Grand Prix this season. But take care, everyone. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Leave your comments below. We're always keen to see what you think. And drive fast and try not to crash. Bye just now.